So, and here she is today, our city councilwoman.
Someday, that was wild. I walked up to Chuck Schumer's limo pulled up, and we were holding a rally for Danny Halloran, and I went over to the as he was getting out, and I went to go shake his hand. You know, I said, "How do you do, Senator Schumer? My name is Vicky Paladino." And he's, "Oh, how do you do?" And he thinks he's going to speak to someone who's going to be somewhat, you know, I was respectful. I'm always respectful in the beginning. And, you know, and then I said, "Well, I'm not here for Ron Kim," because he was running against Ron Kim at the time, Danny. I said, "I'm here on behalf of Dan Halloran, and I want to know blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah." So, and that was my first time ever away from the kitchen table. I call it always kitchen table politicking, because that's what I did, was kitchen table politicking. And when I volunteered for Danny's campaign, that was my first time getting my feet really wet in a campaign, and I just fell instantly in love with the excitement of what that brings, win or lose, and what it means to fight for your values, and what it means to have a voice or to speak for on behalf of a candidate that I believe in. So, you know, well, which we'll circle back to, we'll come back to this as far as candidates that you believe in. I think we're all a little disappointed in our congressman. Talk about putting your voice behind people that you believe in. So, George, I knew him as Anthony, surprised us all a few short weeks ago. A lot of people have seen me in pictures. I was told by several news outlets that that's being done on purpose. And I don't doubt that, not for 1 second. Because there's other pictures they could use, yet they insist on using the same picture of me with Anthony's arm around me. Now, to be fair to Anthony, in all good intentions, when I met him, was a very young man. It was back in the summer of 2018 when he came to my backyard to volunteer for my campaign. I knew him like everybody else did. To say I'm shocked is an understatement. To say I'm infuriated, again, is another understatement. But I think the best word that fits this situation is I'm extremely disappointed. I'm extremely disappointed because I often speak on how you must know your candidate before you vote for them. I'm all about educating the voter. Long before I ran for city council, it was all about get to know who you're voting for, because you have people blindly going into the voting booth just picking out a name and voting. You don't know your candidate, but in this instance, nobody knew the candidate. But let me then say this. Anthony didn't win by a small margin. I blame Robert Zimmerman, his Democratic opponent. I blame the GOP for not vetting properly. I blame myself because I never asked him anything more than, "How are you?" and took things at face value. We often do that. We take people at face value, we trust them, which is a good trait. You know, don't get discouraged. It's a good trait. One bad apple does not spoil the bunch. Robert Zimmerman had 4 years to look into Anthony, George Santos. He had 4 years, as did Cairo out in Nassau. Because remember, George in his district, his congressional district 3, tips into Whitestone. So you're either the first stop on the train in Whitestone or you're the last stop, depending upon how you want to look at the congressional line that he's running in. He runs all through Nassau and parts of Suffolk County. It's not my job to babysit the congressional candidate. Anthony put forward I thought, a very honest campaign. He did not win by 200 or 300 or 1,000 votes. He won by 8 percentage points. That's an awful lot of votes, folks. That's between 6,000 and 8,000 votes. So the people understood his message that he was putting out there. They voted for a message. And should he have not done anything corrupt as far as if he got up and BS'd about himself, and he certainly did, his total persona was a fake. A fake, an absolute fake. Why people psychologically do these things, again, is not my job or your job. But if he would have been vetted more carefully, we would have found out that he never went to Baruch. That's slim. I mean, we got a president that lies every single damn day. We've got, just look at this. Look at what we got in Washington. All right? But if that was it, and all he did was lie about himself, which was bad enough, pathological. The thing is this. When we think about how it is for people who run for office, he's a young guy. Do we give him a second chance? What's going to happen? Well, I'll tell you this. I put out a very firm statement. I think it was a fair statement. But come this time, if there's anything that he did financially, and he stole money from people and did something that wasn't right, that's when we have to say, that's it. You're cut off. You are done. Because it's one thing to fool the people because you have your own insecurities. That's a pretty bad thing. We don't know what his life was growing up. We don't know his story at all. We never got much past the surface stuff. But when we do find out who the real Anthony, his name is George Anthony DeVolda Santos, is what I was told back in 2018. So as soon as we find out who that person really is, let's make our judgments at that point in time. But right now, they're asking me to say he should resign. Well, I can't say resign to Anthony unless I tell the president to resign and we tell other people to resign. Exactly right. You're 100% right. You're right. Here's the issue. Look. The real issue is that he won on his message.
Right.
He won on his message. Now, the Anthony I know, I think was going to deliver for us what he said he was going to deliver. I know you may disagree, and I know there's people here that disagree, and that's all right. You're allowed to disagree. But I'm gonna put my faith once again and say, so long as you did not do anything illegally on the dotted line on paper concerning people's money and taking money under false pretenses, which some people will say because he ran as this person with this facade. I did know Anthony, and I will say this, sadly, really, really sadly, because it's breaking my heart that someone is ill as this to get away with this. It's an illness. So I wish him well. I wish us all well, because if there's a special election, I'm going to tell you this right now, the chances of a Republican taking this seat is 0. It's nuclear. It is 0. He fried the seat. I say let him keep his seat for the next 2 years and let the people decide, because if this goes to a special election, we will have Robert Zimmerman, who is as far left as you want to take it. And we will lose a valuable seat, even though he will be stripped of all his committees as he should be. He will be useless. But at least he will be a vote. A vote that I believe that we'll be able to count on. So that's what I have to say about Anthony. Next up, just 2 minutes real quick, and then I'm going to hand the mic over. We have 12-126. Who here is retired on a city pension?
Will be soon.
Yes. Okay. Yes. On Monday, we are having, this is huge, everybody, because they pushed this up on a front burner. We've been listening to this for months and months. I've got a video up on Facebook. It's over 2,000 views already. And I put out my statement with my Common Sense Caucus. What they did was, we had 3-inch binder in my office, 3 inches of people who have called, emailed, and did other things. You were promised your pension. You took your job with the city of New York, guaranteed your pension and your health benefits. We will not back away from that, not for 1 minute. Now, because they have pushed this on a front burner when all along they have told us, don't worry about it, just tell everybody it's not coming up for a long time. They don't have to worry about it. Well, that turned out to be like everything else, a bunch of baloney, okay? A total bunch of lies, and you come into this thing knowing most of the time people are lying. People are lying. It's a terrible way to live because you're always thinking who's telling you the truth and who's lying. So now they pushed it on the front burner. This Monday morning at 9 a.m. on City Hall steps will be a press conference. The best part of that is at 10 a.m. You are invited into City Hall. Attached to my blurb on Vicky Paladino for NYC, you will see a link. Also on my council member page, you will see a link where you could sign up to testify. Now, I have been your voice in City Hall. I will continue to be your voice in City Hall, but here's the best part about City Hall. You can fight City Hall. Get yourselves down there and sign up to testify. Come into the chambers. I will tell you it's extremely well orchestrated, very organized. I've sat through many testimonies. I've testified myself. So what I want to tell you all is to don't be afraid. Sign up, come in, and sit down. Take a chair. And then you will be called up, and you will be able to sit at a table that sits 4, and you will be able to tell your story. Why you do not want 12-126 changed in any way, shape, or form. Everybody does a whole lot of this. Now it's time to come on in. We're inviting you in to City Hall Monday morning at 10 o'clock. Sign up. Go online, watch it live, because you could do that too, and you could testify virtually as well. So that's what I have to say about 12-126.
Thank you, Councilwoman Paladino. That's why we got to fight for her re-election starting now.